The filing of certificate of candidacy has ended today with a number of notable personalities officially declaring their political bids for the 2019 midterm elections. Among those who were last to file their certificates of candidacy are Senator Sonny Angara, detained former Senator Bong Revilla, and former presidential spokesperson Harry Roque, who made a surprise move. Here's why from Nel Maribo.
The Commission on Elections has ended the period of filing of certificate of candidacy for the upcoming midterm elections. Among those headlining the last day of filings, former presidential spokesperson Harry Roque, who surprised the public when he filed his certificate of candidacy for senator. His decision came days after he announced that he was considering the advice of President Rodrigo Duterte for him to run for a lower position, which he eventually confirmed as a nominee of an environmental party list group, Luntiang Pilipinas. His main reason for finally aiming for a seat in Senate is to relive and continue the legacy of one of the most brilliant senators in history, the Iron Lady of Asia, late Senator Miriam Defensor Santiago.
Ang aking babala, yung mga korap, yung mga bobo, yung mga tiwali sa gobyerno, mumultohin na po kayo ni Miriam Defensor Santiago sa pagkatao ni Harry Roque.
Roque says he was grateful that the ruling party, Duterte's Partido Demokratiko Pilipino, Lakas ng Bayan, offered him to run under its banner, though he preferred to run under People's Reform Party, the political party of the late Senator Santiago. Roque claims it was Mayor Sara who arranged for his certificate of nomination and acceptance, a group which he implied as not a breeding ground for traditional politicians. A day after his lawyer, Attorney Joseph Sagandoy, filed his certificate of candidacy, former Senate President Juan Ponce Enrile personally showed up at Palacio del Gobernador to revise his COC. Instead of running as an independent candidate, Enrile formalized on Wednesday he is running under the puwersa ng Masang Pilipino. Aside from rectifying some of the typographical errors in the entry of his previously filed COC, Enrile wants to disabuse the minds of the people that he is physically decrepit to run for public office. If he wins, Enrile says he will focus on issues such as easing the impact of inflation, measures against criminality, insurgency, and measures to address the deteriorating value of peso. Senator Juan Edgardo Sonny Angara is seeking re-election for another term after serving in the Senate since 2013. If given the chance in the Senate, Angara says he would push for the full implementation of the remedial measures to alleviate the impact of the law alongside the rising inflation. Sonny Angara is running under the Laban ng Demokratikong Pilipino, the political party founded by his late father, former Senate President Edgardo Angara. Detained former Senator Ramon Bong Revilla Jr. through his wife, Bacoor City Mayor Lani Mercado, filed on Wednesday for a new term in the Senate. Revilla said his detention is not a hindrance for him in helping solve the country's problems. Revilla is currently detained at the Philippine National Police Custodial Center in Camcrame, Quezon City over his alleged involvement in the 10 billion pork barrel scam, which the former senator denied. Meanwhile, Mercado said Revilla might be out of detention by December after the court has issued a ruling on his pending plunder case, as most witnesses against him already back out.
Naghihintay na lang po kami ng 90 days para bigyan ng solusyon o ng hatol ng Sandigan Bayan ang kaso ni Senator Bong.
Other senatorial candidates who filed their COCs are Rafael Alunan, who praised President Duterte's foreign policy, veteran journalist Jiggy Manicad, who want the creation of a Magna Carta for rescue workers, and President Rodrigo Duterte's political advisor Francis Tolentino, who will be running under the administration's PDP Laban. Tolentino said he would push for environmental justice legislation if he wins a Senate seat. Nel Maribo, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
The opposition group now sees possible alliances after some personalities filed their certificates of candidacy as senatorial aspirants for the 2019 midterm elections. Here's Asher Kadapan Jr. to tell us why.
Different personalities, ordinary citizens, and known politicians filed their certificates of candidacy in the 5-day period set by the Commission on Elections. Although the Liberal Party has no official declaration of its senatorial line up for the 2019 midterm elections, 6 had already filed their candidacies under the LP banner. These are Senator Bam Aquino, former Senator Mar Rojas, former Representative Erin Tañada, Attorney Jose Manuel Diokno, Magdalo Party List Representative Gary Alejano, Marawi Bakwit leader Samira Gutok. According to LP President Senator Kiko Pangilinan, now that Rojas is on board, the opposition coalition is getting firmer. Today, 2 candidates who filed their COCs may get slots from the LP senatorial slate. These are former Solicitor General Florin Hilbay, who is running under the Aksyon Demokratiko Party, and independent candidate election lawyer, Attorney Romulo Macalintal.
Ang aking pinaglaban ay may kinalaman sa prinsipyo. May kinalaman sa prinsipyo at walang kinalaman dun sa tao.
But now you can call me Makaromi. Why Makaromi? Kapag kayo'y gutom na sa pagbabago, Makaromi ang kailangan.
Macalintal and Hilbay are reportedly considered in the opposition coalition of the Liberal Party. After the filing of COCs, the Liberal Party is expected to present their senatorial lineup before the campaign season. Asher Kadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Outgoing Foreign Affairs Secretary Alan Peter Cayetano formalizes his bid for a congressional seat in the 2019 midterm elections. Meanwhile, senatorial aspirant and former special assistant to the President Christopher Bong Go expresses gratitude for the support of President Rodrigo Duterte. Here's June Soriao to tell us why.
Senatorial candidate and former presidential aide Christopher Bong Go showed up at the grounds of the Commission on Elections on board a motorcycle on Wednesday, along with outgoing Foreign Affairs Secretary Alan Peter Cayetano. As always, Go said he's thankful for the support that he receives from no less than the President Rodrigo Duterte.
Sa trabaho po, siyempre mahirap, no? Kaya nga naiyak akong masakit na iwanan ko yung trabaho ko sa kanya. Officially, nung umalis po ako ng Malacanang, nagsimba ako, nagdasal ako. Pero naging magaan ang loob ko nung hinatid niya po ako dito sa COMELEC. Para pong isang ama na sinamahan niya po ako dito sa COMELEC at binigyan niya ako ng pahintulot na tumakbo.
Though he recommended somebody to replace him in the position of Special Assistant to the President, he said it is still the President's prerogative as to who he will appoint as his next personal aide.
Marami silang pinagpipilian. Hindi ko rin masabing may papalit na sa akin. Hindi ko rin masasabing it will be isa lang or maging dalawa o pagtutulungan po nila yung aking naiwang trabaho. Pero in my personal capacity, hindi ko po iwanan ang Pangulo.
Meanwhile, Cayetano said he is grateful for the President's understanding for also allowing him to leave his cabinet to run for the 2019 midterm elections. He will run for the 1st District of Taguig City and he wishes to become the House Speaker if given a seat.
Kailangan mailagay sa batas at systemic yung change. Marami po na kailangan palitan sa sistema natin at gawing permanente or at least long term, no?
Jun Suriao, UNTV, News and Rescue, Manila.
Presidential son Sebastian Baste Duterte is eyeing to run as Vice Mayor of Davao City in 2019 in a tandem with his sister Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio. While in Zamboanga City, Congressman Celso Lobregat will challenge incumbent Mayor Beng Climaco in the mayor's post. Let's find out more about who's facing off with whom in the upcoming elections in this report.
President Rodrigo Duterte's youngest son, Sebastian Baste Duterte, will be seeking an elective position in 2019. On Wednesday afternoon, Baste was officially revealed as Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte Carpio's running mate when he filed his certificate of candidacy.
Siyempre nagtanong din ako sa tatay ko. Sabi niya okay naman daw. Pero yung decision talaga is mine alone. Diba? So yun. Nag-decide na rin talaga ako.
The other night, nagkausap si Baste and si President Duterte and apparently, sinabi ni President Duterte na he will support kung ano yung gusto ni Baste and kung gusto niya tumakbo, the President will support him.
Sara has filed her COC on Tuesday while their brother Paulo filed his candidacy for congressman of Davao City 1st District last Friday. In Zamboanga City, 1st District Representative Celso Lobregat will challenge Mayor Climaco in the mayoralty race. Longtime friends Climaco and Lobregat filed their certificate of candidacy almost at the same time earlier. Lobregat served as mayor for 9 years before he won congressional seat. Climaco is seeking another term for the post she has held for the last 6 years. Leyte Governor Leopoldo Domingo Petilla, meanwhile, is seeking re-election in 2019. He was accompanied by former Energy Secretary Carlos Jericho Petilla when he filed his COC on Wednesday. Also seeking a return to the Cebu City Hall is former Mayor Michael Rama. He is making a bid for the Vice Mayoralty post as the running mate of mayoralty candidate Vice Mayor Edgardo Labella. Rama is confident he will not be hindered from running despite his inclusion in President Rodrigo Duterte's list of narco politicians.
I'd like to please all of you look at straight into my eyes. And if you can dissect and do surgical heart opening, my heart is pure, my mind is clear, that Mike Rama in 24 years never been into illegal substance and never been a drug protector.
Congressman Ronnie Zamora is also seeking a re-election in 2019 while his son, former Vice Mayor Francis Zamora, will join the San Juan City Mayoralty race. The younger Zamora will go against Vice Mayor Janela Estrada, the daughter of former Senator Jingo Estrada, while Ronnie Zamora will be challenged by actor Edu Manzano. Dayan Ventura, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
It's official. Abigail Binay will face off with her brother and predecessor Junjun Binay in Makati City's mayoral post. Abigail filed her certificate of candidacy Wednesday, accompanied by her supporters and father, former Vice President Jejomar Binay. She will run under the banner of the United Nationalist Alliance, or UNA, which was founded by her father. Junjun Binay has filed his COC on Tuesday under a different political party despite her sister's appeal. The Binay patriarch says he respects the decision of his children to run against each other. However, he declared his support for his daughter's candidacy.
Sabihin na lang natin sinusuportahan ko siya.
Many believes that a name spells winnability in the 2019 elections. John Ano tells us why in this special report.
Markang Villar.
Ayusin natin ang Pilipinas.
Lenny Robredo. Giginhawa din.
Testaman Villanueva.
May ginhawa.
The name of a person serves as his identity. For an election candidate, the name he registers is very essential because it serves as the guide of voters in every ballot during election. According to the Commission on Elections, they allow candidates to use aliases, particularly celebrities who are more known for their screen names. Some of the best examples are Erap, Bistek, Isko, Goma, among others.
Kaya nga natin pinapayagan gumamit ng alias kasi hindi lahat ng tao nakikilala sa kanilang tunay na pangalan. Mahalaga kasi na kilala ng taong bayan kung sino yung binoboto nila.
Like the previous elections, most of the personalities who filed their certificates of candidacy come from the well-known political families. Some of them are celebrities, and some are first-timers who want to try their luck and join the world of politics. Among the popular political families are the Aquinos and Cayetanos. Despite coming from a well-known political family, Senator Bam Aquino, who is seeking re-election, still finds it a challenge to gather votes.
Well, it's both an advantage and disadvantage these days. No? Siyempre, may mga supporters, may mga detractors like any known name in politics.
On the other hand, former Senator Pia Cayetano also said that it is undeniable that their family name plays a huge contribution in her previous win as a senator.
I ran for the Senate in 2004, soon after my father passed away. In that sense, of course, I would say that the memory of my father and his good name gave me a jumping point for my launch of my candidacy.
On the other hand, singer-songwriter Freddie Aguilar, who is now seeking a senatorial post, doesn't find his popularity as a basis for him to win, but rather his eagerness to serve the public.
Sa kagustuhan ko pong tuloy-tuloy yung pagbabago, pati po ako na
walang hilig sa politics ay tumakbo na rin po para makatulong po sa bayan natin.
According to Jimwell Nival, a professor of language and popular culture at the University of the Philippines, Diliman, majority of the society are voting for those popular names from political families and celebrities.
So ano ba ang gusto nitong masa na ito? No, sila kasi yung exposed sa television, sa radyo, sa pelikula, at malaking bagay yung mga apelyido na nakikita nila, naririnig, nababanggit sa balita, etc. etc. So kaya yung name recall, malaking bagay ito sa kanila.
Also contending in the 2019 midterm elections are the party list groups. A party list is the group representing the marginalized sector. The party list group is tasked to draft legislations concerning the sector that they are representing. It can be observed that the names of party lists usually begins with letter A and number 1. According to COMELEC, this is somehow a tactic so their names will be enlisted first in the ballot, so the voters will be able to select them rather than those who are enlisted on the lower portion of the ballot.
So basically, kung alphabetical, ang paniniwala ng marami, kapag nandun ka sa unang mga hanay ng mga pangalan, mas malamang maboboto ka. Medyo merong scientific basis ng gano'n.
And to make it a fair battle, the COMELEC is planning to do a random listing of party lists in the ballot next election. Despite on the lead in surveys and being a popular personality, the COMELEC believes that voters still prefer those who will match their principles and those who can provide their needs and those who can fight for their rights.
Pero sa tingin ko para sa botante specifically, dapat mas hinahanap nila yung taong tumutugma sa kanilang paniniwala. Pipili ka nung sumasang-ayon sa iyong paniniwala. And I think yun ang pinakamahalaga na standard na ginagamit natin.
Yan ang gusto ko lang yung may karanasan na, yung dati na gano'n, yung mga wala namang problema kung sikat man nun, hindi basta makatulong sila sa bayan.
Hindi po kasi nakukuha sa sikat yun. Depende po sa magiging presidente or vice. Ang gusto po namin yung maasahan po namin.
Majority of the voters stand firm on their position that it is more important to consider what a political candidate can do for the betterment of the country and not according to their popular names that only serves as their identity. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Philippine Competition Commission slaps Uber and Grab companies with a 16 million peso fine following its investigation on their merger deal. Let's find out why from Monokson.
Ride-hailing service firms Uber and Grab are facing penalties anew over its merger deal. The Philippine Competition Commission has fined Grab Philippines and Uber a total of 16 million pesos for allegedly violating key provisions of the interim measures order during the merger review period of the antitrust body. The IMO was issued to the parties to maintain pre-transaction conditions to prevent actions that may prejudice the ability of the PCC to review or impose appropriate remedies. The PCC explains the imposition of fine is due to the failure of two firms to keep their operations separate, pending the approval of their merger deal. In a breakdown provided by the antitrust body, Grab PH and Uber are ordered to pay 4 million pesos for executing their agreement even during the review period. Grab was also fined with 8 million pesos while Uber with 4 million for failing to maintain the pre-merger business conditions.
This establishes the fact that PCC has its own jurisdiction and mandate when it comes to competition-related concerns.
Grab and Uber merged their operations on March 25. The antitrust body launched a motu proprio review on April 3, and 3 days later, the agency issued the 7 interim measures for Grab and Uber. The PCC also notes that Grab Philippines and Uber violated 2 of the 7 interim measures. 10 counts of violations were detected on 2 of the conditions set for the merger. Under the Philippine Competition Act, a 2 million peso maximum fine will be imposed on every particular violation on its provisions.
Dahil sa pag-comply nila sa LTFRB order, ay kinailangan namin i-reduce ang fines ng Uber, which is why kung makikita natin 8 million po ang fines na inimpose sa Grab, para sa Uber naman ay 4 million pesos lamang.
The PCC warns that if the two firms fail to comply within 45 days, they will have to pay a fine of 16 million pesos each day. In response, Grab PH said in a statement that they will study the order before giving further comments. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue, Makati City.
Passengers are complaining about several buses with routes from Fairview to Baclaran that allegedly charge 8 to 10 peso fare increase, although the LTFRB is yet to decide on their petition. Joan Nano tells us why.
Paul Infante was surprised when the conductor of the bus he rode on last Monday asked for an additional 10 pesos for his fare. Infante rides the bus going to work every day. From the previous 35 pesos, he was charged with 45 peso fare from Fairview to Banawe in Quezon City.
So nagdikit po yung inspector ng yung effective October 15. Sabi po nung inspector, ngayon day po, ipapatupad nila yung increase ng pamasahe, which is noon pa daw po dapat nila pinatupad.
He said this is a big burden for him since he only has 100 pesos daily budget.
Nakakagulat po talaga kasi ang laki agad ng tinaas. So inisip ko, pag uwi ko, maladagdagan na naman ako ng 10 piso. Hindi kulang na yung budget ko sa pagkain.
Netizen Mark Rizal Competente has the same sentiment. On his Facebook post, he showed a picture of a paper with a notice of fare increase on buses effective last Monday, October 15. He also mentioned that he was asked to pay additional 8 pesos from the 25 pesos previous fare. But the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board clarifies that they have not yet approved a fare increase among public utility buses as the board is still reviewing their petition. If these complaints will be proven, LTFRB Chairman Martin Delgra warns on the possible cancellation or revocation of franchise of these bus companies.
Wala pa po, pero pina-finalize na yung decision. That will be a case of overcharging, which should be a violation of their terms and conditions ng kanilang practice.
In the post, it was revealed that the said buses belong to Eastern Fairview Baclaran Operators Association, who is a member of City Buses Operators Association. The UNTV News team tried to get the side of the City Buses Operators Association, but they are yet to comment on the issue. As of now, the LTFRB is still finalizing their decision on the petition for fare increase of various transport groups, as they will still consider and weigh the possible effects of such increase to the commuters. Joan Nano, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Budget Secretary Benjamin Jokno warns of reduced fuel subsidies for transport sector in 2019 following the announcement on the early suspension of the second tranche of fuel excise taxes. The Commission on Higher Education, meanwhile, believes the budget for free higher education will not be affected by the said measure. Rosalie Cos tells us why.
The government assures that it will continue its program that offers assistance to jeepney drivers who are bearing the brunt of surging oil prices. According to Budget Secretary Benjamin Jokno, the Pantawid Pasada program, which seeks to provide a fuel voucher worth 5,000 pesos for each jeepney operator, has been allocated with 977 million pesos in the 2018 national budget. While in 2019, they proposed around 3.2 billion peso appropriation for the program in hopes of hiking the fuel subsidy to 20,000 pesos for each driver. But following the announcement on early suspension of the second tranche of fuel excise taxes next year, Jokno warns the projected budget may be slashed.
As I said, the Pantawid Pasada for next year is premised on the 2 peso adjustment, right? Now, if the 2 peso adjustment is suspended, then the Pantawid Pasada benefits will be based on the 2018, but that will continue.
Jokno has earlier assured that the government's assistance for poor Filipinos, such as conditional and unconditional cash transfer in 2019, will not be affected if the suspension of the fuel excise tax will push through. With this assurance, the Commission on Higher Education is confident that the budget for the free tertiary education policy next year will be protected.
We will be in close coordination with DOF so that yung provision for education will somehow not be affected by any deduction.
Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacanang.
Makati Regional Trial Court Branch 148 Judge Andres Soriano did not issue a ruling to Today, on the Department of Justice's plea for an arrest warrant and whole departure order against Senator Antonio Trillanes IV, according to Branch Clerk Attorney Maria Rodora Malabag Peralta, Soriano will probably issue his decision on the case on Thursday. It has been a month since the DOJ filed its motion following President Rodrigo Duterte's declaration that the amnesty granted to Senator Trillanes in relation to his involvement in the 2009 Oakwood mutiny was void from the beginning. Judge Soriano has already conducted a clarificatory hearing and accepted most of the evidences presented to the court by the camp of Trillanes. Marawi City marks today the first anniversary of its liberation from the clutches of the Maute ISIS terrorists. But despite the ongoing recovery efforts, some Marawi residents are still unable to feel at peace and many are yet to return to their homes. Grace Casin tells us why.
I hereby declare Marawi City liberated from the terrorist influence that marks the beginning.
1 year ago, President Rodrigo Duterte stood in the ruins of the city of Marawi and declared it liberated from the hands of the Maute terrorist militants following the death of its leaders Isnilon Hapilon and the Maute brothers. But even if the guns have fell silent, many civilians are yet to return to their homes and some are still unable to feel at ease. Norfaida Magdara and Salma Maka Aguirre are among those still languishing in makeshift shelters, unable to return to their homes they left behind.
Yung takot, hindi naman mawawala yun kasi ever since naman hindi nangyari sa amin yung ganito, bigla na lang nangyari. Kaya biglang nanano sa puso namin na may takot pa rin.
Even though sinasabi nila na liberated na nga, ganon, pero na yung idea na wala ka pa rin sa bahay mo, wala ka pa rin sa sinasabi mong home, na we feel secure na rin po. Pero may mga time pa rin po na natatakot ka. We never know po kung baka may mga panahon na magkakaroon ng ganong pangyayari ulit.
The government's restoration and recovery process in the city that has been left in tatters have been slow. The Task Force Bangon Marawi has yet to begin this month the debris clearing in areas that were heavily ravaged by the war. The task force has also yet to hold the groundbreaking ceremony for the city's rehabilitation after numerous delays.
In the next few days, siguro we will see the deployment of heavy equipment, mga gamit na gagamitin para sa debris clearing, initially sectors 1 and 2.
Though grateful for the government's reconstruction efforts, the Marawi City government admits it is rather feeling impatient with a snail-paced process.
Ako'y naiinip, but at the same time, naiintindihan ko po ang ating gobyerno. Dahil ako po ay nasa gobyerno, alam ko po yung mga proseso. Even sa local po, yung pag-implement natin ng mga projects ay dumadaan ho sa proseso.
It has been a tough year for Marawi residents, but most of them remain positive and determined to bring normalcy in their lives by returning to schools and work. Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
An indigenous group from Mindanao visits the headquarters of the Philippine National Police for a dialogue regarding their alleged involvement in leftist activities. Asher Kanapan Jr. tells us why.
A group of Lumads from Mindanao arrived at Camp Kramet to meet with Philippine National Police Chief Oscar Albayalde, seeking to clear their name and prove that they are not members of the New People's Army. The group said their traditional costumes and culture are often used and imitated at anti-government rallies, but these protesters are not members of their tribe. According to Lepatuan Unad, chairperson of Mindanao Indigenous Peoples Coalition for Cultural Justice and Integrity, many of their members have been killed by the NPA for refusing to give in to the rebel group's demands.
Yung ginagawa ng CPP-NPA kapag yung mga tribal leaders or yung mga IP doon sa komunidad, kundi magsama sa kanila, ang nangyari maraming mga pinapatay. Kung tingnan natin, may ilibing sa isang butas, may mga 4, may 5.
Maliwanag na yung mga yon ay hindi talaga sila katutubo na or talagang katribo nila, ginagamit lang nila yung mga damit, yung mga kanilang mga probably yung kanilang tradisyon.
The group is seeking police protection from the rebel group that teaches children to fight against the government.
Ang sinabi naman ng NPA at saka yung mga organisasyon na front nila, okay, magtulong kami sa iyo. Sa inyo, lagyan namin ng eskwelahan ito. Pero ang problema naman, ang nilagay na eskwelahan, ang tinuturo, yun naman pag-dismantle ng baril. Yun naman yung pagtuturo ng kanilang national anthem.
Although the PNP cannot grant the group's request for arms, General Albayalde promised to provide security.
Bigyan lang siguro natin sila ng karampatang protection, no? By way of patrolling in the area, binibisitahan natin yung kanilang mga lugar, hindi lang yung AFP, pati na yung ating mga PNP, lalong-lalo na yung mga mobile groups natin.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines previously reported that the NPA plans to carry out a Lakbay Lumad Europe in November as part of the ouster plot against President Rodrigo Duterte after their so-called Red October failed to happen in September. Asher Kadapan Jr., UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The Department of Labor and Employment is set to repatriate more than 1,400 Filipino workers from Al-Kubar, Saudi Arabia, who lost their jobs after the company they were working for closed down. Based on a report that reached the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration, they said OFWs have been left to suffer by their employer Azmil Contracting Corporation after it was locked out by the Saudi Arabian government. Prior to the freeze order, the company has been unable to pay for the salary of the said OFWs worth 4 months. Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello III is now in Al-Kubar along with some officials from OWA, Departments of Health, Foreign Affairs and Social Welfare and Development to help facilitate the repatriation process. The Philippine government has also extended around $50,000 worth of financial aid for the retrenched OFW. A British Select Committee questions a robot for the first time in a discussion focused on the Fourth Industrial Revolution. Jovic Bermas explains why.
A robot named Pepper sat at a table alongside robotics students at a British Select Committee meeting on Tuesday. It answered several questions for the first time on the value of technological innovation and the role of robots in a classroom.
What is the role for humans in the Fourth Industrial Revolution?
We will need people who can spot ideas and think across traditional sector divides to drive value from technological innovation.
How can robots help students learn in the classroom?
Students program me to engage with audience in a range of environments and social settings. For example, Joanna and I are working together to adapt my interfaces to work with primary school children with or without special needs to develop their numeracy skills.
Pepper was envisaged as robot for care of the elderly, but has been adapted to teach with children. The humanoid is part of an international project funded by the EU and Japan and a resident robot at Britain's Middlesex University. Carrie says the project behind the humanoid robot said in its website it aimed to design the first care robots that adapt the way they behave and speak to the culture of the person they assist. Jovic Bermas, UNTV News and Rescue.
And those are the reasons behind the stories in the second part of our newscast. Y News returns with William Thio. I'm Angelo Castro III. Good evening.